The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, is set to introduce a new pricing regime for petrol following the increased supply from Dangote Refinery. Between September 15th and 30th, NNPC lifted 103 million litres of petrol from the refinery. According to NNPC insiders, the company will adjust the pump price upward to reflect the reality of relying on Dangote Refinery cargoes, exhausting imported stock. The new price regime is expected to consider foreign exchange fluctuations, crude price increases due to Middle East tensions and regional distribution challenges. This is as reported by the Premium Times.
Now, previous estimates suggest prices ranging from 950 naira to 1,019 naira per litre across different regions. However, the crude price is exceeding $78 per barrel, and the naira's depreciation. An NNPC official told Premium Times that prices may exceed 1,350 naira per litre. This development follows the September 3rd price increase from 617 to 855 to 897 naira per litre. The NNPC has not officially announced the new price regime, but adjustments are expected soon. And of course, as we expect in Nigeria, once there is these rumors, you would expect that petrol stations will immediately start making these adjustments across the country. In different parts of Nigeria, people have already been reporting that they've been buying petrol for more than 1,000 naira in Benin, in Enugu State, and many other places. But joining us is financial analyst Kalu Aja. Good morning, and thanks for your time as always. Thanks for joining us.
How are you doing? Good morning.
Very well. It's a little confusing, mostly because of the reasons that the NNPC is stating. They're talking about the Middle East crisis, talking about the fluctuating price of the exchange rate, and of course, with the dollar and naira exchange rather, and also fluctuating price of crude oil. These are some of the things that they've mentioned. But is there any truth to their claims from what you think? Also, keep in mind that the NNPC's sale of Dangote, sale of crude to Dangote in naira is meant to start in October.
Well, sadly, NNPC seems to be correct in this case because the local price of PMS that you pay is going to be dependent on the exchange rate of the naira to the dollar and the international price of crude oil. These two are going to be the main drivers of the PMS price you pay locally. The payment to pay for crude oil in naira only has an effect if you are paying at below the NAFEX or the official rate. If you are paying at the same 1,600, 1,650 and all that, there's no subsidy. So there's no pass-through or there's no savings. Doesn't matter if you're paying naira or dollars, you're still paying at the exchange rate that the market is exchanging. So you're not going to see any price, release or any price subsidy unless there's a subsidy either on the exchange rate or on the, should we say, the price of crude oil. That's when you see the local price come down at the pumps in Nigeria.
All right. So what we're saying in essence is, or does this automatically mean that we should also expect an increase across board?
Yes, unless there's a subsidy, because if the oil price goes up as it's going up because of the tensions in the Middle East, then the drive-through in prices should then show up. So the exchange rate and the international price of crude oil would now be under pressure, and that will show up on your local PMS price, unless the NNPC subsidizes. And the subsidy is simple. They can tell Dangote to pay at maybe 1,000 naira and not 1,600 naira. So that way there's a subsidy. But if he pays as full market price and oil price goes up and naira weakens, then of course the local PMS price is going to go up. It's just going to happen.
Does it matter that crude is now being sold in naira to the Dangote Refinery?
And it really has no effect because, again, he's buying at the market rate. So that market rate is $1 is nearly 1,700, 1,700. So there's no difference there. You only have a subsidy if Dangote is paying less or he's paying in a time delay. So maybe he gets crude oil in January and is going to pay in March. That's a subsidy as well. But if he's paying at full market price, taking the product, paying almost immediately or 30 days to sell at the same exchange rate, There's no subsidy there. He also runs the business. So he's got to take that crude oil, refine it, and then sell to the local NNPC, who then distributes to you at the local pumps. The savings will come if Dangote gets the crude oil and is able to refine the crude oil. He's able to sell the byproduct and then get that excess savings to the byproduct. But the crude is owned by NNPC. He's just a refiner. So what NNPC does with the byproduct is now going to determine how they will fund that subsidy. Will they, for instance, give Dangote crude, get the byproducts, export and sell that, and use that as a fund to pay the subsidy? We don't know yet. But the naira dollar thing doesn't make any difference per se.
So, I mean, for what you're saying, Nigerians will not be catching a breather anytime soon, and what Nigerians should expect, is that as these details that you've mentioned continue to maybe increase, the price of petrol will continue to increase. So it might be hitting 1,500, maybe 2,000 naira per litre.
Unless there's a subsidy, as long as the international price goes up and the exchange rate weakens, then your local PMX price will go up. It's already going up. That's why you see the 6 billion unpaid subsidy checks that NNPC has not paid. That's what's going on. That's why the NNPC wrote that letter to the federal government, because your PMS price can stay stable, then the NNPC bears that liability of the excess subsidy. But they're saying now they cannot bear it. That's why the oil price or the PMS price had to go up to cover a bit of that subsidy. So it's just pure economics. The crude oil itself in Nigeria is priced in dollars, not naira.
Yeah.
So to get that subsidy, you've got to give, something has to give. Either Dangote does not pays in dollars, but at a lower exchange rate. So he's able to get the crude and do business with that crude and supply more PMS at a lower price to the NNPC. Something has got to give there. We can't afford anything dollar in Nigeria. We just can't afford, because we earn naira. So dollar is a bit too expensive for us.
Yeah, will the possibility of, the whole independent marketers talk, the whole, maybe other refineries coming up, will any of that change anything? What I'm asking here is, for Nigerians watching, I understand how much of, a strain it must have been for everyone having to buy petrol, above 800 naira to 1,000 naira, per litre. And so just hearing that there's a possibility that it will get worse, is there anything that Nigerians can hold on to and say, okay, maybe there's a glimmer of hope here that doesn't sound like, subsidy?
Yes, there's nothing, because the cost is fixed, right? If it's in naira or dollars, it's fixed. The only way you get a subsidy is if the federal government says, Dangote, take the crude oil at below market, right? Or the CBN says, Dangote, take these dollars at below NAFEX. Then it's a subsidy. Then it's a bit of a release at the local pump, the PMS price at local pumps. Apart from that, if you simply buy at market rate, then it's going to pass through. The exchange rate to pass through, the dollar rate the crude oil price will also pass through to local pumps. Even if 10 refineries in Nigeria are working, the refining is not a key cost factor of the final PMS price that you pay in Nigeria. The refining at continent is about 20 to 30 naira. It's not a major factor. It's large, but it's not major. The real drivers are the crude oil price in dollars and the exchange rate from naira to dollars. These two things that's what the subsidy is going to be. Like I said earlier, you can have a subsidy where Dangote gets crude oil, is able to refine that crude oil, export the byproduct, and then pays NNPC. NNPC can take those byproducts that he didn't get when he simply did the swap and create a fund for those byproducts to then pay the subsidy. So there's a long-term savings there, but it has to be the federation to say, yes, that revenue that's going to come to NNPC should go towards the subsidy and not go towards maybe NNPC's operations. That's how I see it happen. Apart from that, it's going to economics to play out.
All right. Just to quickly mention, or to quickly ask, I know you've said that the refineries don't have a major role to play in all of this. Port Harcourt Refinery has missed its 7th deadline for rollout. What is the fate of the refinery in Port Harcourt? Are we ever going to see it actually roll out?
Yeah, the mistake was trying to make it work. A long time ago, that thing should have been sold and scrapped and maybe done a new refinery in this place. It's too old. Even if it works, it's going to produce crude oil at a higher price than Dangote. And Dangote can produce all the PMS Nigeria needs. So why is the NNPC getting its own refinery today? It doesn't make any sense economically. So it should be scrapped or reconditioned for something else. But you can't run to refineries. NNPC doesn't even have the crude oil for Dangote. Where would they get the crude oil for its own refineries? Remember, we've given away lots of products for loans. And I read a report, NNPC owned about 8 billion.
Yeah.
They paid about 2 billion. So where is the product going to be to service Port Harcourt, service Dangote, then the other Port Harcourt, then the Kaduna? Where are they going to get the products from? So we wasted a lot of money trying to do it around maintenance or to repair the Port Harcourt refinery. Sell it, move on. Dangote is here. It's a newer plant. So the cost is going to be lower than whatever NNPC has. It's a brand new plant, can service Nigeria, West Africa, even Europe. Let's focus on that.
All right, let's quickly bring in Lai Omotola, who's CEO, Integrated Revenue Services. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Also, we're almost out of time, but let's quickly also get your thoughts, on the whole conversation concerning the possible increment in the price of petrol. Is this, what it has to be, seeing the realities, in the industry?
Yes, I think we're presently having energy crisis, and the area will begin to look at alternative means of fueling the economy, the better for us. Our total reliance on fossil fuel is no longer sustainable, and it's time for us to begin to look at alternative means like CNG and also electric vehicles, because we need to have hybrid of sources of energy for this economy as it is in other developed nations. For us to be reliant on petrol and diesel 100% when the forces of the market forces is not in our control, we will continue to have this price variation from time to time because we are working on flats. And as long as the prices of crude oil increases, our fuel pump will also increase. So we need to diversify. And how do we diversify? It is by rushing up our CNG adaptability and also including our electric vehicle, getting Innocent and some other automobile company to produce these vehicles for us to have this hybrid. And if we do not do it in the fastest possible time, this crisis will continue to jack up our inflation, will continue to jack up our foreign exchange, and the economy would look very, very long.
All right. It doesn't look like it's a very clear picture. It just looks like predictions of doom and gloom. But unfortunately, we might have to wrap up the conversation here as a result of time, which we're running out of. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.